I don't know if you can hear that. There's a pack of wolves howling back there. Well, good morning. It's the third day. We're taking down camp. One thing I'd like to show you guys on this trip, it's really difficult because the snow is wet and it's deep. And when you go to walk on it, sometimes you can stay on the top crust, and the other times all of a sudden you go down 3 feet to your knee and it just jolts your back. And I have artificial hips on both hips, and it really, I can feel that jolt just going down. I'll give you an example here. See, I've been walking on top of here. See, and all of a sudden, bam, you're down. Now that makes it really difficult to maneuver around here. That's where we're going to eat, by the fire pit down there. We got a nice area shoveled out, runners there. And for me to get down to there, I have to put on my snowshoes. And to get to the latrine, you have to put on the snowshoes. Otherwise, it is really tough going in here. Cooking breakfast with our little fancy feast. It's an alcohol stove that works really good in the winter time. It's probably the best alcohol stove out there, and you can always count on the fancy feast to light up. Some of these other ones, they struggle in the winter time. Good morning.
Good morning.
How'd you sleep?
Good. I've always slept good. Really good.
Sleeping in a hammock in the winter time is wonderful. We sleep like little babies up here. Drilled that hole yesterday, and overnight the temperature was 33 degrees. That hole didn't even freeze. So we get to reuse that hole. Most of the times we'd have to re-drill, but it was a warm night. And tonight it's supposed to be warm also. I think the temperature is supposed to be up to close to 50 degrees, which is 10 Celsius. We got 2 portages today. One a 90 rod and another is a 147 rod. So it's going to be a little tougher, I think, than yesterday. I'm glad we got those 2 big portages out yesterday while it was really cold, so we can scamper on top of that snow. It was easy to truck through those portages. But now we're going to fill our water bottles, boil the water, and then we're going to take off to our next camp, which is going to be on Alton Lake. We're making our way back to Alton. Just like that, we got our water. Now a lot of people would ask, why don't you just melt snow? But with that auger, it makes it so much easier. Yes, it is heavy. I got to bring it in. It's just under 5 pounds, but if I was to melt snow, I'd have to bring extra fuel. I've been melting snow for years. I've been using other methods for the winter time for our hiking. This is the 2nd year using that auger, and it really makes it a lot easier. Really like that. And if you come up here, if you want to do some ice fishing, you got an auger to get water, and you can do some ice fishing. We just got off that portage from Ella Lake, and we're back on Beth Lake. And the snow is real slushy, so we were sinking in a little bit. It's not as well as it was yesterday. That's one thing up here. When you get above freezing, it's probably about 35, which would be 2 Celsius. It starts getting slushy and the snow is soft and you sink in there. These conditions, a lot of people think, oh, it's warm. Like today might even get up to 50 degrees, which is 10 Celsius. A lot of people think, oh, this is great. It's better to have the temperatures below freezing, so everything is nice and crusty. You can scamper on the top of the snow easier. And when the temperature gets above freezing, it makes everything wet. Everything is wet in camp, and so it makes it a little more difficult. I'd rather have it cold. I'd rather have it right now in the 20s instead of the 30s. Makes it a little easier, but the ice is still frozen. It's not slushy yet. So later on today, I expect the lake to be just full of water. So we're on our way to Alton campsite. We got a portage up here off of Beth Lake. When you're up here looking for portages, they're kind of hard to find because the maps are not always accurate. It just shows you the direction or the area that it's in. It's not always precise, so you have to look at the terrain to find where the portages are. For an example, the map says the portage is right around in here, but we know that with that lowland right there, that is where the portage is going to be, because it's pretty obvious this is where they're going to put the portage. They're not going to put it in high terrain, they're going to put it at the lowest ground level. So when you're looking for portages, one of the things, in most cases, not all, you look for the lowland like that there, and you know the portage is there, not over here. Even though the map shows it over here, I'd always look here first. If it's not there, then I check over there. It's starting to get a little warm, so what you want to do is make sure when you start getting warm, you want to regulate the heat. I opened up my jacket so I could get some air in here, and I also took my hat off because I was starting to overheat. So this is the best way to cool down. First, take that hat off, or if you have anything around your neck, take that off. Open up your jacket because you don't want to sweat up here. We still got a few more days, and I don't need my stuff wet. So it's really important to regulate your heat by opening or taking off a layer. When we get up to this portage, I'll take off a jacket. Probably be in my long underwear top, because it's pretty warm. And we got a long portage. Especially late in the winter or early in the spring, you have to be careful with the ice because there is some soft spots and some little bit of open water, and you can see up here. So we're gonna swing around that way and then come in. Another thing, at this time of the year, you can see the portage up here is full of rocks, and we don't want to drag our pokes or sleds through that. We'll come up around this way and then in. Well, I stripped down to this underwear top, and I put the hat back on because when we were back at the portage, the wind was whipping in. It was getting pretty cold because this is damp and wet, and with that wind hitting it, it was cooling me down really quickly, which is good. It dries us out quicker too. But now that I'm back in the portage, there's no wind. I'll be taking his hat off pretty soon, and I'm waiting for Runner behind me. He was still stripping down. I had to get going because that wind was starting to really cool me down. Well, we just got off this portage from Beth Lake to Alton Lake. We're on Alton Lake, and this is where we'll set up our camp for tonight. We're gonna look around for a campsite. There's a ton of campsites on here because this is close to Sawbill, which is entry point. So we're gonna find a nice campsite, try to find the nicest one we can find, and hopefully the snow isn't as deep in the campsite like yesterday on Ella Lake. Well, we're on Alton Lake. A little breezy here, getting a little chilled with this long underwear top. I might have to change up here. The camp isn't too far from here. There's a big island up there, and we take a left, and that'll be the campsite. Cloudy today, which is kind of nice. You know, the sun, I was worried about getting sunburned.
Well, hello there.
We've been looking at different campsites, and they're all deep with snow. But we're coming up to this one. Is a pretty popular campsite where people that would base camp in the wintertime would be here because it's close to the portage. So we're hoping, because this is a base campsite for the wintertime, there'd be some wood, maybe even split wood for us. That's what we call luxury items if we're out here in the winter trekking. There's a few cut logs. I was hoping to see better than that. It's going to be hard to find wood here because this is a popular campsite because it's next to the portage to Sawbill. But there's a lot of nice hangs here. But the problem is the wind is coming from my back into this campsite. So I'm not sure if we want to take this one. There's another one on the other side. So we're going to go back and check that one out. If not, we can come back to this one. But we need to get out of this wind. And there looks like there's some rain coming. And we want to be set up before the rain comes, so we're going to check out the other site. Camp's right up in there. Jackpot, found some cut wood for us. I'm sorry whoever cut it. I'm thinking it's got to be, the season's got to be over because with the snow melting, in a couple weeks this will be all melted and the lake will be open. So I don't mind taking the wood. And it's not like I'm stealing the wood because I don't think they're coming back. First thing I did when I came to camp, I dug out a little area and it was about 3 feet deep, and the top is really hard crust, and I broke my shovel trying to bust through it. I had to borrow runners to finish it off, but it's about 3 feet deep right here, 2 to 3 feet, which is about 1 meter deep. Got my hammock set up, got the tarp ready to deploy. Gonna get that set up and then we're gonna eat lunch. Man, I'm hungry. We got a dugout area where a hot tent was, and this is where we're gonna be our common area where we'll come and eat our dinners and sit, and we'll probably have our fire down here. Got a nice view. After we get done eating, we're gonna look for the latrine and dig that out. I'm debating whether to wear my snowshoes or just try to chance it with my boots on, but I've been doing a little post hole in here, falling through the crust of the snow. It's still pretty deep here, not as deep as a campsite at Ella Lake, but we'll find that latrine, dig it out, and then start getting some firewood. We got some firewood here and down over there, and camp is over there. There's my home away from home, and there's Runner's home. What do you think of your home?
It'll do for a night.
You got a nice little spot. We're tucked in the woods here to get out of that wind, and I think we got a great spot. The lake is down that way. We're gonna go out, dig out the latrine. Here's our latrine finder.
Yeah.
And our latrine digger. We found the latrine. We found the throne. I thought I'd get in the hammock and take a little nap. Took a little snooze. This is looking out of my hammock. This is a view I got. Runner's over there. You can see how I got it dug out. My pack down below me. I got this pad that I use to warm up my feet. This way I can put my feet on there when I get up to go to the bathroom and stand on. It's really a nice feature to have. Airing out those boots. Now I gotta get up and put on my camp clothes. I'm gonna put on some camp shoes. I brought some new camp shoes I'm gonna try out. I haven't put them on yet. But I'm gonna put them on, collect some firewood, get the fire pit ready to go, and then I'm gonna get that small compactable auger. Today was kind of a lazy day. And then we'll have dinner. Tonight on the menu is beef stroganoff. Looking forward to having that. It looks really good. It has beef and mushrooms in it. And it's from a company called Camp Chow that's not far from here, up on the Gunflint Trail in Minnesota. So I'm going to give that a try tonight. Look who else is taking a nap.
No nap.
You never take a nap. You're starting to learn. It's nice to get in that hammock and kick back, isn't it?
And I'm listening to music and looking at the Lincoln tree.
Was that you singing a little bit ago?
Was there anybody else on this island?
I thought it was a pack of wolves.
Yeah, it could have been.
Man, oh man, you're like snug as a bug in there.
I am.
Look at this guy. Woo! Supposed to put 3 cups of water in here, which is 24 ounces. I only put 18 ounces in, and it's still soupy. I think 2 cups of water would have been perfect. If I would have put 3 cups, 24 ounces of water in there, it would have been beef soup, not beef stroganoff. I like it thick, and this is beyond thin. It's almost like a soup. So I'm really disappointed, but it is what it is. Well, good morning. It's the 4th day. Yesterday we had a southwest wind, and so we set up so the wind would be to our back. And last night it turned to a northwest wind, and so it was whipping in here. So we got a little bit of wind blowing into our camp here, into the hammock. But I was nice and toasty. It's 31 degrees was the low. It's probably about 32, which is 0 Celsius. We're finishing up eating our breakfast, and then we're going to head out. It's going to be a real quick jaunt. Quick trip right to our next portage. We just got a portage right across the lake. There's a campsite there, and so that's where we're going to spend our last night. So we have a quick out by the entry. So it's really close to the entry point. So eating our breakfast. It's windy right now, still windy, but it has shifted to the west. So, but we're still getting a little bit of wind in here, as you can see. What do you think, Runner?
I think it feels kind of chilly this morning. I was glad that no trees came down on top of my hammock last night, so I noticed after everything set up, I had a dead one not too far away, so, but I survived the night, so pretty happy about that. So, looking forward to what the day has for us here.
We're pretty much all packed up. We'll finish up eating here and then just put it all away and take right off. Didn't even notice that. A beehive. Now, a couple things that are a must up here when you're trekking through this wet, slushy snow is to have a good pair of waterproof boots. These are Basque Snow Bourbon, but another thing is gaiters. These are crocodiles from Outdoor Research. They'll help keep your feet warm and dry, and when you're trucking through and post-holing through this deep, wet snow, it really helps keep your feet dry and warm. And the last thing that is a definite must is you have to have a good pair of snowshoes. I know a lot of people like those MSR hiking snowshoes. Now these are a Crescent Moon Gold. I think they're the number 10. And these cruise right through that deep snow. Yeah, if I didn't have these snowshoes, there's no way I'd get through here. I'd be post-holing. With these snowshoes, you can see that they're very long, they're wide, and I cruise on top of the snow.
Yeah, I was really, I like the duffel bag for packing the sled. It's got a lot of straps in it. I can get a lot in the duffel bag, but not only that, but I can get a lot right on top, like carrying the ice auger, my shovel, my bench, everything is strapped in there. Carrying a little extra pack for some, just a few extra things that I want to bring along or have easy access to. This is really slick, and it really packs things up. You know, going down the trail, man, you can see how everything is just really secure in there. I tipped over once yesterday, and it...
Anything fall out?
Nothing fell out. Everything was in there secure. So I guess I really like the way this bag packs up.
And the sleds or poke that we're using is from Ski Poke. These are the clippers, and they're a little narrower, longer, but they cut through the snow. I really recommend these. These really glide through the snow, even that deep snow. And we also have fiberglass poles and the harness that goes with it. With the harness, it's really great because you can adjust it so the weight is on your hips. Otherwise, you can put it on your shoulders or both. And then it has leg straps too, so you can cruise with it. Really comfortable. You know, it is spendy to get all the gear, but we come up here a lot, and to us, it's definitely worth it. Sun is popping in and out, and right now it's pretty much cloudy with that cold temperature below freezing. The ice is not sloppy, it's hard like an ice rink. With our snowshoes on, we have cleats on there, otherwise there's no way we cross here. You get those old school wooden snowshoes, they wouldn't work up here in this. You would be sliding everywhere. But you can see how you just cruise. A lot of people say, why don't you use a backpack? Even though right now we probably could have lightened up and brought a backpack in, we like to bring extra gear in, and in cold weather you have to bring a lot of clothing and heavier quilts. But with this ice, if I had a backpack or with this sled on the back of me, this poke, it is so much easier with a poke, because when I walk, it's like there's nothing behind me. You can see how Runner is going, cruising right through there. It's crazy. I don't even feel anything. I don't have no weight on my back. This thing slides easy. I don't even notice it behind me. That's how slick the ice is. And we can do miles and miles with this, unless we get to a long portage. That's what holds us back. I might have to get my sunglasses on. The sun popping in and out. Gorgeous morning. Where we're at our last portage, right here, it's a 30 rod, which is about 40 meter, a short one. So one thing with the poke, when you're by thin ice, you don't want the poke to go in. If you're going to break through, you don't want that poke to go in. So what you do is you take the leg straps off, take the waist belt off, the sternum strap off, and I got this little bag I'll unhook. I can still pull with this very easily, and then if I do go through the ice, this will just slide right off, and the poke will stay on the ice. Because you don't want that poke to go in the water, because what's behind me is really a life raft, and that's what's going to keep me alive if I get wet. This will stay nice and dry. That's why if I have a pack, and if I go in pretty deep, my pack gets wet, I can be in big trouble. That's one thing with these pokes, but you want to keep yourself loose, because I can easily, with this loose, I can easily pull the poke. That's a good tip for you, that if you're thinking of getting into poking, if you're coming by thin ice, always loosen yourself up like that, just to make sure, just to play it safe. You know, I'm a whoopee sling guy, but I really like the cinch buckle. I'm not a cinch buckle person because of they're easy to tighten but hard to loosen. And this is so simple. I'm really liking this. Especially in the winter when it's cold, I grab that and just pull it. Slick as can be. Just hook the continuous loop on those hooks there. The straps that I have is from Dutchware. They're polyweb, I think they're called, and I got a carabiner from Dutch. I'm really liking this, and I'm thinking this is gonna be my tree straps for wintertime hammock camping. You can see how windy it is back here. I think I'm gonna lose my hammock if I don't get my tarp set up. Now, a lot of people ask, how do you put the stakes in the snow? What you do is get a shovel. I like these snow stakes. You can use any other stake. You put the cordage in the middle of the stake,
Push a shovel down into the snow and make a thin opening, but not too deep.
put the stake in there sideways, push down on it, and then you step on it. Now you let this sit there for 20 minutes. It'll take 20 minutes to cinder, and then it'll get a hard crust on there, and then you'll be good. And this will hold. The only problem with this is in the morning, you got to dig them out, and they're hard to dig out. Almost there. Bam. And then after 20 minutes of cindering in there, then you're ready to go. And what I like to do first, instead of using the snow stakes, is using a piece of cordage, and this is Zing It from Dutchware gear. Really lightweight, it's very strong. And I got a loop on the end, and I take that loop, wrap it around, and bring the other cordage into the loop and through it. Tighten it down, and now I got my hammock in porch mode. Now in the morning when I go to take down my tarp, all I have to do is unloosen this. And then that's it. That's simple. That quick. Now you can see I have my tarp and my hammock set up. I got the tarp pitched low in the back. I have a door here that is angled to block the wind, so the wind that's coming in this way. And I got the front and porch mode. We're hoping to have a fire tonight. We're hoping that the wind will die tonight so we can have a fire. People left some firewood there again. So we're hoping this wind is just whipping and hopefully it'll die. But the temperature has got to be about 35, which is about 2 Celsius. So it's been pretty nice temperature wise, but that wind can cut right through you. And this is a view out of my hammock. I got Runner to look at all day and all night. What a beautiful creature. You can see someone there made an expedient shelter. I think it's called a hewn house. I'll leave it up here. I'll show you how they made it.
You shovel a dome-shaped pile of snow, then let it sit there for about 90 minutes. Shove sticks perpendicular into the mound of snow to about 18 inches or 45 centimeters. Make a doorway in front opposite of the wind and dig through the doorway till you reach the center of the mound, and then dig inside until you hit those sticks, which will give you a wall thickness of 18 inches or 45 centimeters.
That's their shelter. And that's where we're tucked back there. Runner's back in there. And again, we lucked out. They left us a pile of wood. This is nice, good split wood. So hopefully that wind will die down and we'll have a fire somewhere, probably right over in here. But you can see it's kind of nice in here to have it dug out and to have your feet on the ground and level area to walk. I was getting tired of post holing. Otherwise, you'd have to wear your snowshoes wherever you walk back in here, and that kind of got old, taking them off, then you put them back on, take them off, put them back on. This way we got a nice level ground here where they're putting hot tents back here, so we lucked out to have a spot. And the reason why this is here, because the entryway is, we're on Sawbill and it's not too far from here. We're right on the edge of the Boundary Waters, and that's why this is a popular site. It's easy to get to, and so a lot of the people will come out here and, like, they build that expedient shelter there. and they'll probably come out here all winter to sleep in there, and it's really close to the entry point. Someone left a Ham's beer can there. There's a lot of other garbage that's left in here we'll pick up. If you come in here, you guys, leave no trace behind. I really promote that. Leave it as you find it. My grandpa always taught me when you come to an area, you leave it better than you found it. Eating our lunch, we have salami, pepperoni, Munster cheese. It's so windy here while I was making my sandwich, one of my pepperonis blew away. So you have to guard them pepperonis from the wind. Now this is Runner's setup. He has the Chameleon, and underneath that he has the Phoenix, which is from Hammock Gear. It's a 3/4 underquilt. It's 0 degrees with 2 extra ounces of down, and then he has his underquilt protector. And then his top quilt is a Hammock Gear Burrow, and that's a 20 degrees with 2 extra ounces. And then his tarp is a War Bonnet Superfly.
One thing I'll say about the underquilt, what I discovered, and I failed to do it the first time, but there's some little hooks on the side of the Chameleon, on each side to hook the straps of the underquilt, and it does really stay in place much better when you hook those shock cords or whatever you call them on the underquilt. So
Holds it up nice.
yeah, stays in place.
And there's my little setup with my dream hammock, Darien, and same as Runner, I got the 0 degree underquilt, Phoenix, and top quilt 20 degrees with both with 2 extra ounces, and the Superfly, which I modified. What's nice with this Chameleon, it has a sidecar that zips right on the side, so you can put all his storage, put all that stuff, little nice storage shelf, kind of like the War Bonnet Blackbird. Got a nice little shelf that you can zip on there. It's nice to have storage down there, isn't it?
Yes, it is nice to have things nice and handy. Usually I put stuff I'm going to be wearing to bed, so to speak, wearing the hammock at night when I'm going to sleep in. So that's the stuff I usually kind of keep in there, so I have it ready to go. So I can just kind of change quick when it's ready to go down for the night. So
good deal. And that's why I like my War Bonnet Blackbird XLC, because it has that shelf. We're doing a little hike here. We had a little extra time because we didn't have to do any chores like get firewood. We had a short day because we had a campsite by the entry point, so we just had a short little jaunt, only one portage. So we got a free day today. It's about 1 o'clock and we have about 4 hours to hike around and really just explore. And man, I should head back and get my sunglasses. I went back and got the sunglasses, but you have to walk in the middle. We're going in between these 2 islands. And you got to walk in the middle because on the shoreline it's either open or it's very soft. So when you come up here this time of the year where it's late in the winter, early spring, it's best to walk in the middle of the lake. Don't go by the edges. And if there's snow on top, it could be pretty dangerous, not knowing or seeing it. A moose came through here, it's been a while, where it melted down and you can still see his footprints, his hoof prints. Hiking around this entry point, you'll see a lot of campsites that have areas where there was hot tents, and so far everyone had wood split there. When you come up here with a hot tent, your chore is mostly finding wood, cutting it, and splitting it to keep that stove going. Runner and I like to not stay in one spot. We like to move around. We like to go way back, go where no one has gone before. We pack pretty light and, well, we eat good. And we stay warm most of the time.
yeah.
Get out of the wind, get in our hammock. You can't get better sleep than that. You can get these hot tents, unless they have a hot tent with a hammock that goes through it, which is becoming popular. But otherwise, I can't see anything more comfortable than sleeping in a hammock in the wintertime. What do you think, Runner?
No, I gotta have a hammock. I gotta have a hammock in winter, spring, summer, fall. I gotta have a hammock all year. Used to be a tenter, but I am totally converted over to the hammock, so.
And it didn't take long to convert this guy. One trip and he was tooken, smitten,
Yeah.
and not offended. You can see there's a remnants of one of those expedient shelters right on the edge of the lake here, which I'm surprised. The portage is right up here, right on the lake. I don't know if I would have done that, but I suppose if it keeps the wind out, doesn't matter if the wind is whipping. But it's real treacherous coming on the shoreline here. It's so soft. I took a chance coming up walking in here. I'm afraid I'm going to go through. There's so many open spots. And Runner is letting me go way ahead. If the ice can hold me, he knows it'll hold him. Thanks for volunteering me for soft ice patrol.
Think of a better man to do the job.
Well, I appreciate that. After we got done with our hike, we came back to the hammocks and took a little snooze, took a little nap. Now kicking back in my dream hammock Darien, it's very comfortable and it's cut asymmetrical. And you can get it in a 10-foot or 11-foot, and you can get it in some of the fabric as wide as you, well, up to 70-some inches. But I had this one 72 inches, which is 6 feet wide, which is really wide. And the reason why I did it is so my feet can hang out, and you can see my underquilt, the cordage on the underquilt goes over my feet. So now my feet is underneath the cordage. My feet go way underneath it. Oh, what's for dinner today? We got cheddar beef goulash from Camp Chow. I'm gonna give it another try. It says put 2¼ cups of water, which would be 18 ounces. I'm only gonna put in 12 ounces. I put almost half the water in there. It really turned out good. Camp Chow, you redeemed yourself. Well, we're just leaving camp. Got this morning, it's 21 degrees, which is -5 Celsius. And behind me, I can hear the wolves howling. And they're saying goodbye. Woo! Yeah, this is the first time I heard the wolves. We knew they're around us because we've seen signs. This was a really great trip. It was really nice to have the snow melted off the lake, so you have this nice slick ice that you can just cruise across. Our car is just maybe a mile up ahead, and we're just flying on this lake, so we'll be there in no time. The weather was great. We didn't get any rain. It was predicted to rain, and it didn't. Always great fellowship with Runner. This 5 days went so quick. I just can't believe how fast it went. It always goes quick up here. And you guys, if you've never been out winter camping, if you have the right know-how and the right gear, it's really a great time to be out. It's a great experience. You love the great outdoors. I did a video series on how to stay warm, your head, hands, and feet. Next year I'll do more on it, layering, and also winter camping stuff to help you guys out. This is the Marine and Runner up there. Thank you for watching, and God bless.